Most people think that if you constantly feel off, there must be something wrong with you. Like you missed a step, like everyone else got the instructions and you didn't. That's not what's actually happening. You don't feel wrong because you're broken. You feel wrong because you're reacting to modern life exactly the way a normal human would. You function just fine. You go to work, you talk to people, you show up, you do what you're supposed to do. You're not depressed. You're not failing. You're not lost in any obvious way. But there's this quiet feeling you can't shake. Everyone else seems to move with more confidence. They make decisions faster. They commit to things. They post milestones like they know exactly where they're going. And you're just present, not unhappy, not panicking, just slightly out of sync. You don't feel like an outsider. You feel like you're inside the room, watching everyone else play a game you somehow missed the tutorial for. And the hardest part is explaining it, because when someone asks, "What's wrong?" there's no clear answer. Nothing is wrong. Psychology doesn't call this laziness or lack of motivation or immaturity. It calls it contextual mismatch. That's what happens when your internal pace, values, and expectations no longer match the environment you're living in. You're not malfunctioning. You're calibrated for a world that quietly disappeared while no one was paying attention. So if you've ever wondered why this feeling keeps following you, it usually comes down to a few specific patterns modern life keeps repeating. Here are the ones that show up the most. Number one, you're comparing yourself to timelines that aren't real. You don't wake up feeling behind on your own. You feel behind after scrolling. Someone just got engaged. Someone bought a house. Someone quit their job and found their passion. And all of it looks clean, effortless, on schedule. What you don't see is the debt, the panic, the regret, the compromises. Your brain didn't evolve to compare itself to thousands of people every day. It evolved to compare itself to maybe a few dozen people in a small community. Now your reference points are broken. So even when you're doing okay, you feel late. Not because you are, but because the finish line keeps moving faster than a human nervous system can handle. Number two, the milestones change, but no one updated the rules. There used to be a rough order to life: finish school, get a job, build stability, then figure yourself out. Now, some people skip half of it, some do everything at once. Some do none of it and still look successful. So you're trying to measure progress without knowing what actually counts anymore. Are you behind if you don't own a house? If you change careers at 30? If you don't want the same things as everyone else? You're not confused about yourself. You're confused because the scoreboard keeps changing and no one explains the new rules. Number three, you're expected to be yourself and fit in at the same time. Modern life gives you two instructions that quietly contradict each other. Be authentic, but don't make people uncomfortable. Speak your truth, but read the room. Be confident, but not too intense. So you adjust. You soften opinions. You filter reactions. You choose the version of yourself that causes the least friction. Over time, you don't feel fake. You feel vague, not wrong enough to rebel, not right enough to feel solid, just unfinished. Number four, you have more choices than humans were built to handle. You can move anywhere, learn anything, become anything. And that sounds empowering until every choice you don't make starts to feel like a mistake. Previous generations had limitations, and limitation gave direction. Now freedom creates paralysis. So you wait for clarity, for motivation, for certainty. And while you're waiting, life keeps moving. You don't feel wrong because you're indecisive. You feel wrong because no one taught humans how to live without rails. Number five, you've spent years adapting instead of building. You're good at adjusting. Different groups, different expectations, different versions of yourself. You know how to read people. You know how to stay acceptable. But adaptation isn't the same as construction. You've been responding to environments instead of building a center that stays the same everywhere. So you feel normal in every place and rooted in none. Number 6, you're reacting to a world optimized for speed, not stability. Modern systems reward visibility, flexibility, and constant movement. They don't reward psychological coherence. So when you feel unsettled, it's not a personal failure. It's what happens when a human nervous system is placed inside a world that never slows down long enough to let identity catch up. Here's the part most people miss. Feeling wrong doesn't mean you need fixing. It means your internal signals are still working. They're telling you something important. The environment you're navigating was not designed for clarity, stability, or long-term coherence. It was designed for speed, comparison, constant adaptation. So discomfort isn't failure here. It's feedback. It's what happens when a system pushes humans faster than they can integrate change. You're not behind. You're noticing the gap between how humans are wired and how modern life actually operates. That awareness doesn't make things easier, but it makes them clearer. If you feel normal but somehow always slightly out of place, it doesn't mean you miss something. It means you notice something. And in a world that keeps insisting this confusion is personal, that awareness might be the most grounded response you can have. You're not broken, you're not late, you're just human in a system that forgot to slow down.